We know that sitting isn't good for our body. What if sitting too long in silence isn't good for our spirit? That's the thought behind this week's Sunday question. Hey everyone, I'm Denise Brown and I write Sunday questions to give us inspiration to start our day. When we think of a good question, our mind then seeks to find the right answer that's right just for you. Every Sunday, I offer a good question that we can think of to start our day. It's a way to offer a helpful intention that can help set success for us during our day. This week's Sunday question is actually inspired by an experience I had last week. I often offer workshops for discharge planners in the hospital, and I'm hired by a team of providers like home health agencies, nursing homes, and durable medical equipment providers. These providers work with hospital discharge planners for referrals. So they want hospital discharge planners to refer patients to them. And the way that they can market to the discharge planners is by offering CEU approved workshops. So that's where I come in. I go into the office of discharge planners and deliver a CEU approved workshop. So these discharge planners are nurses or social workers. They need CEUs, continuing ed hours, to renew their license. And they'd love to get these CEUs for free. So I deliver the CEUs for free. The providers have an opportunity for a real quick insight into their work at the beginning of the workshop. So it helps solidify the relationship so that the hospital discharge planners feel comfortable referring patients to these providers because they know the provider. So this past week, I delivered a workshop in the office where the discharge planners work. And what that meant was I was in a room the size of probably maybe your living room. And the discharge planners were sitting in the outside part of the room because that's where their desks were. So if you can think of a room that has desks along the walls, and then a little bit of a door leading in, and there was no technology. Okay, so my colleague who brought me in is a great guy, and he said to me, "You know what? Let's use the box we used for Chipotle lunch for your laptop." So in addition to the discharge planners receiving this free hour of continuing ed credit workshop, they also get a free lunch. And for this particular discharge planner group, they received lunch from Chipotle. So the provider brought in a carryout order from Chipotle, and it was awesome. And there was this big box. So my friend, my colleague, got the box for me. I set it up vertically on top of a table and put my laptop on top of that. And that's how we did the workshop. So I stood in this room with discharge planners who work really hard, who ate lunch and often had their back to me as they were eating lunch because they were facing their desk. And that's where they had their plate of, all kinds of goodness from Chipotle. And after the workshop, my colleague who gave me the box to set my laptop on said, "Oh, it's so great that you do these workshops for us. You get such engagement." He said, "You just start out by asking them questions and then just keep going, regardless of whether or not they actually engage with you. And then by the end of the workshop, they've engaged with you. You don't give up." I said, "No, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep doing what I can to engage them in my workshop. And so this idea of standing in our power came to me because in this room, where initially it looked like no one was paying attention, their backs were to me because they were in front of their desks eating would seem like I was not going to get anywhere. But I kept sharing, I kept engaging them, I kept celebrating when they participated. I just kept going. I stood in my power. So the Sunday question for this week is, how can I stand in my power? And here's what I wrote for you. We can have so many experiences during our day that just intimidate us. When we feel intimidated, we question our knowledge and doubt our abilities. Those questions and doubts then lead us to sit down in silence. This week, let's remind ourselves that we have the strength to stand in our power. We can stand up because we understand the nuances of a situation, which means we get the right solution. We gained wisdom from our experiences, which means we can offer helpful perspectives. We won a similar battle, so we understand what the fight needs. We felt a similar way, so we can provide the comforting presence. When we stand in our power, we also see clearly how others can contribute with their talents, experience, and skills. We can tap into the full strength of the team. And we can't see that full strength when we sit. Standing in our power also encourages others to do the same. We can remember that our voice matters and that we can get up by asking ourselves this question to start our day. How can I stand in my power? How do you get up to stand in your power? I'd love to know. Stop by our community, caringourway.com, and let us know. Thanks so much for listening. I'm Denise Brown.